Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Dialog One-on-One. I'm your host, Liam Shea, and today we have an interview with our fantastic guest, Nadia Richards. Nadia is the manager of Anti-Racism and Equity Committee here at George Brown. Nadia is here today to talk about George Brown's plans to celebrate Black History Month with their vision of Black Futures Month, racism on the campus, and how we as students can participate in the anti-racism movements on and off campus. Welcome, Nadia. It's so great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So I guess just to start it off, for this year, like I said, George Brown has decided to not treat this as Black History Month, but as Black Futures Month. What is exactly Black Futures Month, and where did this idea come from, and why did the college decide to choose to celebrate in this style?
That's a good question. So it came out of one of my colleagues, Michael Avis, who really looks at how technology can support us in having a discussion about the history of racism, etc. He was telling us about that and the VR experience. And he spoke with the director of the OR's office. And out of that discussion came the idea of Black Futures. Why don't we showcase Black innovation, Black talent, and the talent that we have here at George Brown, and also commemorate our history at the same time? So that's how it came about.
That's really cool. So, kind of like you're taking a more focused looking at the future generations and how the technology we will be experiences, as we grow of age will affect, Black futures and anti-racism movements. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Awesome.
So there is, yeah, that combination of technology, history, and our future generations.
Well, that's amazing. So I guess for the students who would love to participate in this, what type of events is George Brown and the committee hosting throughout this month that we can join in on?
Okay, so you are able to join in on all the events. If you go to our page on the George Brown website, you will be able to register for every event that we have. So we started on the 1st of February with our opening ceremony. And yesterday we had two different events. We had one that was on education and the community, and the other was on a course that will be uh, I guess it will be maybe by next year, it'll be available by eCampus called Black Voices, Black Experiences in Canada. And today we had our student panel that was we had three students, Anaya Bucco, Jason Mitchell, and Rain Innes, who spoke about Black futures and what it meant to them. So next week, we start with our alumni GBC chefs, and that includes Chef Raquel Fox, as well as Chef Andrew Drummond. That will be on the 8th and 10th of February. The following week, we will look at mental health and racism and the workplace, as well as the week after that, we will look at sexual violence and also self care. And then we will go right back to business. There's actually a business panel. And then we will do an alumni special as well and take a look at some other students or graduates, I should say, and where they have gone.
Awesome. That sounds like a fantastic lineup. It sounds extremely entertaining, extremely enlightening, and I can't wait to learn more about it. I'll definitely be looking for these events the coming days. So I guess into more of a serious question, a double-ended one as well. So the equity community committee and the anti-racism community is actually quite relatively new, with it only being established 2 years ago in September. Uh, when this committee was created and you came on, did you notice anything, like any work that was really noticeable about, fighting racism on campus, as well as we've also seen through the 2 years since the committee has been created, a lot of steps the college has taken to fight off racism, such as, the committee being formed and the Scarborough charter last semester. And just from your point of view, how effective were these steps and what more just needs to be done?
Hmm. Well, with regards to what I will say is racism within post-secondary institutions, that is something that is prevalent. And when we think of September of 2020, it was that was the creation of the Anti-Racism and Equity Committee that was formed by GBC staff and faculty to address various areas of racism and think of ways that we could also um, integrate anti-racism into our college. So the changes that have happened have been, us as an office, the ORS office, the Office of Anti-Racism, Equity and Human Rights Services, opening that discussion to staff, faculty, and students, and identifying ways in which we can improve at the college. We have also made steps to enhance our anti-racism strategy with an anti-racism action plan that has just come out today. Um, yes,
That's
yes, you should. Mhm. So that has been a really good step in the right direction. And we're also looking towards creating awareness and education throughout the college and meeting people where they are to identify the ways in which we have to address racism. And the area committee has been a primary part of helping us reach that goal and informing the work that we do as an office. I hope that answers your question.
No, no, it did. That answered perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah, so just, you've been doing a lot of amazing work, but obviously there's still work that needs to be done, and every day is
Yes.
just a fighting step. Um, but just onto what you actually said about, is there any chance you could actually cover a bit about what was in that anti-racism statement that was released today, as a bit of fresh
Yeah,
scoop for me?
sure. So for our action plan, we're focusing on the next 2 years. And within the next 6 months, I would say to 12 months, we really want to look at how can we provide the resources and tools that our students, faculty, and staff require to understand racism, and then to take the step into practicing anti-racism. And by virtue of doing that, we're preparing ourselves for success and preparing ourselves to walk a bit further and do deeper work in this area, and to then start to really take a look at the gaps and what needs to change within the college from a strategic lens. But as I said, there's always work that can be done. And we look forward to the next 2 years being very busy with us not only establishing education, but also focusing on accountabilities and what that means.
Right,
Who's accountable for what, and how do we all play a part in creating an anti-racist GBC?
right. So to continue off of how you were talking about accountability, I guess for students who maybe have been experiencing racism on campus, um, and they just don't know what to do, especially with COVID, because, with racism doesn't just end in person, it's also online as well. So
Yes.
for students who may be experiencing racism even while learning in isolation, or still be on campus and still experiencing some form of hate towards them, what can they
Mhm.
do and what steps can they do to make sure that they're staying safe as well as making sure the person is being accounted for?
Yes. So what they can do is actually come to the Office of Anti-Racism, Equity, and Human Rights. And there's a process in place in which they can make a formal complaint. By virtue of doing that, we can then follow up with the respondents and ensure that we address the issue at hand. Um, and also find ways in which we can create a safe space for that student and have a dialogue with them to ensure that the supports are in place, that they remain safe while they're at this college.
Okay. So, for anyone who's watching this who maybe experienced this, please take Nadia words to heart. It seems like they always have an
Yes.
open door policy and they will always be willing to listen to you.
Yes.
Um, so I think, that covers all the little harder stuff. So I would say let's kind of get into more of the aspect of Black Futures Month and looking at the future. So
Yes.
let's say there's some students who, want to get into supporting Black History Month and anti-racism movements out there, but they might not have expendable income to donate or, travel to, uh, protests or, listens. Or maybe some people who are looking for ways to support them, these movements through online because they're stuck at home because of COVID. What's some resources and ways that us as students can help support these movements?
Well, one way, I mean, just starting at the college would be to attend our events
Right.
and share that knowledge. That is an absolutely great way to start. And we also have the Black Student Success Network that also provides supports and services to our Black students at GBC.
Mhm.
But I will say that definitely come to our events. And there are other events throughout various colleges and universities as well that are also free. So if there is, the time in someone's schedule to book some events, I suggest that they do so and just take a look at the various colleges and universities and get involved that way. It doesn't have to cost much, but you can really gain some great knowledge from some of the virtual events that are being held.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And I've been to a couple virtual events that I must say George Brown does do them quite well. So I am definitely looking forward to this month's virtual events. Um, so to kind of continue off, not just on campus, but what if students are looking to more expand the fight against racism off of campus? What's some advice that you can give them,
Mhm.
just in general?
Now, there are various ways that one can do that. For example, let's say our students who are parents, they can join their parents' council and they
Okay.
can actually participate and take part in some of the decision making and try to incorporate an anti-racism lens. Now, in order to do so, I will step back a few steps. It's also important to read the right books to get
Right.
some good knowledge on what is racism, and what is anti-racism.
Hmm.
Um, and the most famous book out there is How to Be an Anti-Racist. That provides a lot of knowledge there that many people can learn from. So educating oneself is a great place to start. Also, identifying one's positionality and intersectionality can allow, someone to really reflect and see where they are and how they understand
Right.
race and racism. So these are just a few practical steps that someone can take to engage and to engage with the GBC OR's office and see what we have available, and also share your ideas with us. Maybe there's an idea out there, that students have that can really be actualized and done through the office that we haven't thought of. So there are many ways.
Right. So it seems like you guys are very keen on just hearing feedback from your students on just how you can improve.
Yes, and faculty and staff.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So to kind of continue off of how you said you were going back a couple steps and, to read a book, um,
Mhm.
I just for people out there who would just love to learn more just about Black History Month in general, the Black Lives Matter movement, or just any type of anti-racism, and like you said, like difference between anti-racism and racism. What's some resources that you can give that you would recommend we should check out?
Well, the top one, How to Be an Anti-Racist. I can also speak to The Colonizer and the Colonized by Albert Memmi. And I will also suggest is something that I think is key to anti-racism work, is that we also need to look at our Indigenous communities
Right.
and try to understand some of the issues that are happening within those communities
Hmm.
and center anti-racism from that place and look at what decolonization efforts are being made and what literature is out there. Um, an author such as Marie Baptiste or George Day, as well as Njoki Wan. These are all scholars that speak about anti-racism, racism, and how it can be challenged and contested within educational spaces. And those are
Right.
just a few examples.
All right, awesome. If you're watching, definitely check those out. They sound like great reads. And I guess to finish off the interview, do you have any final thoughts or words you want to get out to our students, staff, and anyone watching?
Mm-hmm. I think this is a really good month for us to reflect, for everyone to reflect. It is not just a month that for reflection for Black people or people of African descent, but it's a month of reflection for everyone. And for us to really think of community and think of the ways that we can improve our community through, understanding the truth, understanding colonization, trying to understand racism, and of course, anti-racism practice.
Right. Um, yeah, so thank you for coming out. I definitely learned a lot. I definitely have a lot to look forward to now. And for everyone at George Brown, everyone who's watching, please check out the virtual events. Uh,
Yes.
it would, mean a lot to me, and I'm sure it would mean a lot to the committee. They sound fantastic. They sound fun. They sound very educational. Uh, Again, Nadia, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you for
It
having
was a
me.
pleasure to talk to you. Okay,
Thank you.
I hope you all have a great day. Thank you guys, and I'll catch you next time.